Hi, warm greetings to all of you. Welcome back to BION, the channel that shares knowledge on holistic self-development through great books. Today, I'd like to share with you a famous book about how to invest, allocate, and optimize your time, effectively helping us improve the quality of life and increase our level of happiness. That book is Happier Hour by Cassie Holmes. The author guides us on how to transform our mundane hours into golden hours of joy, making every moment more meaningful and fulfilling. This approach isn't about cramming more tasks into our day, but about enriching the time we already have. A pressing question arises. What does true freedom really mean? Is it having more free time, or is it the ability to find genuine happiness within the time we possess? Let's explore this together. Does having more free time really make us happier? Is this notion entirely true? In today's fast-paced world, many people constantly feel like there's never enough time. Not enough to clear their piling deadlines, not enough to properly care for themselves, and certainly not enough to do what they love, whether it's exercising, reading, or even just resting as planned. And so, each day passes in a haze of frustration, fatigue, and self-blame. We often wish we had more time, tirelessly working to earn money in the hope that one day we will finally achieve a life of leisure. The author of this book, American social psychologist Cassie Holmes, labels this state-time poverty. But in reality, our perception of time is always subjective. The same 5 minutes can feel like an eternity for someone waiting anxiously, yet feel like a mere blink of an eye for someone saying a heartfelt goodbye to a loved one at the airport. Therefore, time poverty isn't an objective lack of time, but a subjective feeling, the persistent sense that you don't have enough time for the things you want to do, even when you might technically have free hours. The root cause often stems from a loss of control, when our time is dictated by compulsory work or unwanted obligations. For instance, office employees might be required to attend 3 to 4 hours of training each totaling around 20 hours a week, even when 40% of the content is irrelevant to their actual tasks. Similarly, caregivers looking after children or elderly parents may spend up to 8 hours a day on caretaking, chores, and errands, leaving virtually no time to pursue personal interests. Modern women may work a full 8-hour day at the office, only to come home to a second shift of cooking, cleaning, and helping children with homework, leaving them with little to no time for themselves. Another reason people often feel short on time is the decline in the quality of their free time. Even when they have moments of leisure, their minds may still be occupied with work-related worries, or they might squander those precious hours on shallow entertainment, mindlessly scrolling through social media, binge-watching random videos, or getting lost in games. But the deepest reason of all is a fundamental lack of alignment between how time is spent and one's personal values. For example, some people spend as much as 60% of their day engaged in work they genuinely dislike. If you recognize yourself in these situations, it's a clear sign that you are living in time poverty. Being stuck in this state for an extended period can lead to severe consequences. It can result in exhaustion, declining health, and a higher risk of conditions like obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep disorders, and a weakened immune system. It also breeds insecurity and helplessness, as the constant sense of lacking time causes the brain to exaggerate risks, create illusions of failure, and fuel procrastination and avoidance. On top of that, relationships may weaken due to the lack of quality time invested. Someone who feels they have no time for themselves will certainly struggle to find time for others, often becoming indifferent even to close friends and family. Worst of all, a pervasive sense of meaninglessness can take over, as one realizes they are merely existing, not truly living. So, how do we escape the trap of time poverty? Is the solution simply to acquire as much free time as possible? As a university professor, the author herself used to be extremely busy with her academic duties. After work, like many other women, she still had to manage cooking, cleaning, and caring for her children. Each day, she was left with no time for the activities she truly wanted to do. This overwhelming situation led her to question her life and even consider leaving her career in academia to pursue a simple, peaceful existence on an island. However, as a dedicated researcher, she decided to use data to test her assumptions. She posed a critical question. Does having more free time necessarily lead to greater happiness? Together with her colleagues, she conducted large-scale surveys, building a comprehensive database that tracked the daily activities and life satisfaction of tens of thousands of Americans. The findings were truly eye-opening. People with less than 2 hours of free time per day showed a sharp and significant drop in life satisfaction. However, having more than 5 hours of free time per day also didn't guarantee happiness. An excess of free time often led to feelings of boredom, a lack of direction, and wasted hours on mindless activities like scrolling through social media, binge-watching random videos, or gaming. So, here's the deal. It's not about chasing endless free time, thinking that more leisure will automatically make us happier. The real magic happens when we start reshaping how we use the time we already have. Remember, how you spend your day is how you spend your life. If you're feeling that time crunch, it might be time to hit pause, rethink your schedule, and make more intentional choices for your well-being. This book is here to guide you in answering the big question: what truly deserves your precious time? By cutting out those wasted hours and focusing on what brings you joy, you can create your own golden hours of happiness. Part 2. Shaping Time. What truly deserves your investment? To accurately assess this, the author advises that we absolutely must practice time tracking. Where has your time gone? However, tracking isn't simply about recording the activities you've done, but also about evaluating the emotions you've experienced while doing them. Dr. Holmes proposes a specific method as follows. First, create a time chart. Divide your entire day, excluding sleep, into half-hour blocks and write down exactly what you did in each slot. It is crucial that the recording be as detailed as possible. It's best to categorize activities into groups. For instance, instead of just writing work, break it down into sub-activities such as writing reports, handling emails, or attending team meetings. Importantly, the tracking period should not be too short. It should last for at least 1 to 2 weeks continuously. Only then will you have enough data to comprehensively reflect on your own situation. The second step is to record your emotions during each activity and rate them on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 represents very unhappy and 10 represents very happy. But what exactly does happy mean in order to evaluate as objectively as possible? Positive psychologist Martin Seligman identified 5 factors that constitute happiness: positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. For an activity to bring you true joy, it must relate to these 5 elements. First, consider how positive you felt while engaging in the activity. Next, ask yourself, were you able to be fully absorbed? Did you feel energized afterwards? Then ask, did the activity help you connect more deeply with others and the world around you? Finally, did it bring meaningful value? Did it strengthen your confidence or contribute to others in some way? Activities that score highly across these 5 elements usually fall into the ideal zone and should be prioritized. On the other hand, activities that repeatedly leave you anxious, depressed, empty, guilty, or disappointed need to be seriously reassessed. We can also reference the author's research, combined with the conclusions of Nobel Prize-winning economist Daniel Kahneman, author of *Thinking, Fast and Slow*, which I've covered in another video. Based on that, we can restructure how we use our time. Generally, a person's time can be divided into 3 categories. Happy time. This is time spent on activities that are both joyful and meaningful. For example, social activities that help others, sincere, loving communication. hugs and affectionate gestures, meditation, reflection, spiritual practice, and physical exercise. Neutral or dull time. These are activities that are meaningful but not necessarily fun, like working, teaching children, or cooking. Alternatively, they can be fun but not very meaningful, such as eating or watching TV. Wasted time. This is time spent on things that are neither joyful nor meaningful. For instance, commuting, running errands, or endless scrolling online. Of course, these are only relative examples because the level of joy and meaning from any activity differs by individual, depending on personal perception and life goals. For example, some may find cooking boring, while others truly enjoy it. Therefore, the key is to be completely honest with yourself, so you can evaluate and prioritize your time in the most accurate way. Next, we move on to an important section: time optimization strategies. If we truly want to master a fulfilling BION where productivity and happiness intertwine, the author suggests several strategies for time management that can radically reshape our relationship with the hours we are given. The first and most foundational of these is the strategy of time blocking. To put it simply, time blocking means respecting the moments you've committed to as if you were respecting your very life. It is the cornerstone of effective time management, a powerful antidote to the regret of unfinished important tasks or the pervasive fatigue caused by overlapping, chaotic work. Instead of letting our days slip away, we must practice strict, intentional time blocking. This means that outside of fixed, recurring activities like meals, picking up children, or bathing, we must secure golden blocks of time dedicated to our core values time that cannot be intruded upon or replaced by anything less significant. When you lock your schedule for something you genuinely treasure, you are not just organizing your calendar, you are building a fortress for your happiness. For instance, if mornings are your most alert and creative hours, reserve that sacred time for high-value tasks, like writing, brainstorming, deep learning, or solving difficult problems. Later in the afternoon, when your energy naturally dips, you can shift your focus to handling emails, attending meetings, or taking care of administrative work. What if your current job isn't your passion? Then make your morning your private treasure. Try going to sleep a little earlier and waking up just an hour, or even 45 minutes before your workday officially begins. When invested wisely, that golden hour becomes a launch pad with the power to transform your entire life. Dedicate this precious, uninterrupted time to activities that nurture your personal growth, learning a new skill, reading a book that inspires you, studying a foreign language, meditating, or even just taking a light walk in a green space. Simply enjoying a slow, mindful breakfast in complete silence can be a ritual that profoundly shifts your perception, elevating the quality of your entire day while quietly building momentum for your future. These nourishing activities must be scheduled with the same seriousness as any important meeting you cannot afford to miss. The more protection and respect you give to these golden moments, the more love and reverence you are giving to your life itself. Once you've successfully blocked out time for the things you love, the next step is to implement the strategy of fully savoring each moment. This means focusing entirely on the present, and one of the biggest barriers to achieving this state of full presence is, unsurprisingly, the smartphone. Think about it. How many times have you resolved to do your homework, sleep early, read a book, or plan your day only to pick up your phone just for a bit, and suddenly hours have vanished into the digital abyss? The hard truth is that we don't truly lack time. We often lose it unconsciously, one notification at a time. This strategy demands a decisive choice. Either live fully in what you're doing, or admit to yourself that you're letting time slip away. The most effective way to do this is to keep your phone out of arm's reach. Dedicate specific tech-free windows each day, such as the first 30 minutes after waking and the hour before bed, with a zero device use policy. You can also try applying the 5-second rule. Whenever you feel the instinctive urge to reach for your phone, pause, Take a deep breath and ask yourself, does this action help me enjoy the present moment, or is it stealing my time? Just those 5 seconds of mindfulness are often enough to reclaim control over your attention. Another powerful method is to keep an interruption journal. Each time you re-tempted to switch tasks or get distracted, quickly jot down the time and the reason. Interrupted at 10:15 because I wanted to check social media. At the end of the day or week, review these notes. They will reveal the leaks in your time, helping you identify patterns and find practical ways to eliminate or reduce them. The third strategy involves reducing wasted and boring time. This approach aims to free you from tasks that drain your time but are unavoidable, such as household chores or commuting. For these, the author suggests 2 powerful techniques: delegation and batching. When it comes to chores, if your finances allow, consider hiring help. Research conducted across the United States, Denmark, and Canada consistently shows that people who spend money to outsource time-consuming tasks report higher levels of happiness than those who don't, even when most participants in the studies could afford it. You don't need to outsource everything. Even occasional help like hiring a cleaning service once a week, buying a robot vacuum, or using a dishwasher is essentially a direct investment in your personal happiness. That freed up time can then be spent on activities that bring you genuine joy and meaning. If outsourcing isn't a viable option for you, try batching, the practice of pairing an unenjoyable task with a pleasant one. For example, you could clean the house while listening to your favorite music or an engaging podcast. However, be cautious. Multitasking that requires significant focus, like trying to meticulously clean corners while also following the complex details of a podcast, can lower the quality of both activities. In the long term, it is far more beneficial to practice mindfulness, dedicating your full attention to each task, even the mundane ones. Personally, to optimize my own household chores, I follow a minimalist lifestyle. By decluttering unused items and organizing belongings by function and frequency of use, my living space becomes cleaner and much easier to maintain, freeing up invaluable time for what truly matters. Batching works particularly well for optimizing commute time. Time spent on public transport can become a valuable opportunity to read, practice listening to a foreign language, or catch up on messages. However, in a place like Vietnam, where most people ride motorbikes, this is significantly harder to implement. If long, tiring commutes leave you exhausted daily, consider the advice of entrepreneur Naval Ravikant. Move closer to work or find a job you truly love. Your decision about where to live can drastically shape your happiness and overall quality of life. If relocation isn't possible, practice mindfulness during your commute. Avoid slipping into autopilot mode, mindlessly repeating the same routine while your mind drifts elsewhere. Such unconsciousness silently erodes happiness. Instead, stay present, notice your surroundings, and reclaim quality time, even in the most seemingly dull moments. The fourth strategy is the powerful technique of reframing your perception. Many people view their workplace as a battlefield, a source of stress and negativity that they carry home with them. If your current job doesn't yet meet all 5 happiness factors we discussed earlier, you can still find fulfillment by changing your perspective. Consider the story of Candace, a cleaning staff member at a cancer center. Her job involved cleaning up after patients who were suffering from the severe side effects of chemotherapy. While most workers in her position quit within a year, Candace stayed for over 10 years, radiating positivity. She saw her work not just as cleaning, but as creating a hopeful and healing environment. She would help patients with tissues, bring them water, tell jokes, and offer words of encouragement, because she chose to reframe her work as something deeply meaningful. She felt happy and fulfilled in her role, and as a result, her overall life satisfaction soared. Every job has its difficulties and frustrations, but if you can shift your perspective and find the inherent meaning in your work, just as Candace did, you can perform your duties efficiently while gaining an invaluable sense of inner fulfillment. Finally, we arrive at the strategy of leaving space. This means intentionally leaving blank spaces in your schedule, much like an artist leaves white space on a canvas. To create balance and focus, don't overpack your week to the brim. Instead, consciously allow for 30 to 60 minutes of unstructured time for stillness, reflection, or deep thinking. It's also important to keep some space for light recreation like playing a short game, listening to music, or indulging in some spontaneous fun. As long as these small joys don't consume hours of your day, they add a sense of anticipation and happiness to your life. This practice creates a vital buffer zone, a space for your mind to breathe and restore balance to a stressful life. So now, we've learned how to shape our use of time. We've explored a range of strategies to adjust and allocate it more effectively. And we're ready to conclude rising above the daily grind, to see our time from the broader, more expansive perspective of a bird's eye view. Seneca once said, "Life is long enough if you know how to use it well." Like birds soaring high above, able to see the entire landscape below, we too should face the days of our lives with a panoramic vision. Research shows that people who view life in decades rather than days and hours tend to live happier lives. This perspective frees you from being imprisoned by the past or weighed down by expectations. It reminds you that you are just one piece in the grand picture of a lifetime, opening the possibility of greater tolerance for yourself. You don't need to be right from the very beginning, nor do you need to carry everything on your shoulders all at once. Choosing the wrong field of study, the wrong job, or setting aside a passion for a while doesn't mean you are lost. Life is vast and long filled with countless opportunities to add, to adjust, to begin again. And when you feel overwhelmed by too many valuable things to do, remember you don't have to do them all at once. By tracking your activities and evaluating your emotions, you can prioritize what is most important and meaningful first. It's a reminder that life is like a book. Each chapter has its own content. Be decisive in cutting away distractions and procrastination. Devote yourself fully within the time you have right now. Allocating time for happiness helps you shift from asking, "Should I do this?" to "When will I do this?" and then taking action immediately. This book reinforces the awareness that the happiness of life depends entirely on how we use time. Manage our work and choose what truly matters. The way you spend your time today is the frequency you emit. The universe will respond with resonant echoes throughout the rest of your life. And with that, we close today's sharing about this book. I wish you wholehearted action in every meaningful moment. Write in life chapters without regret. Thank you for listening. If you found this video useful, please share it with those who need it. Don't forget to give it a like, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to catch the latest videos each week. Once again, thank you and see you in the next video.